what does it even mean to be in service of your heart or to be led by your soul? What does it even mean, like I said in another video previously, what does it even mean to, when I ask the question, what are you willing to sacrifice in service to your heart? What does that even mean? Do you even know what your heart is asking of you? What does your heart want you to sacrifice to prove to it that you're following it? What does that even mean? What potential things would I need to sacrifice in service of my heart? How do I know what my heart is telling me, really? I think some of us have some random, very vague idea of this whole thing of heart's desires. Maybe you've heard that. Have you heard that? Follow your heart. I think pretty much everybody at this point has heard that. Follow your heart, and you can't go wrong. Just keep following your heart. But what does that mean? I just saw 111. And your heart's desires. How do I really know what my heart's desires are? Because at this point, maybe you've come to this place in your life where it's like, nothing has turned out the way I wanted it to. Everything feels upside down. I literally don't know left from right. I'm so confused. Maybe I'm so unhappy, or I'm angry, or like, what the hell kind of thing. How do I even, where do I even start with this idea of what does my heart want from me? What is my truth? What is my letting my soul lead me, or following my heart? What does that even mean? And sometimes it's not even what you think it is. And that's like the mind fuck right there. Because sometimes you think your heart desire, if you really unravel it at the end of the day, and this has happened to me several times, by the way, sometimes when you unravel what you thought your heart's desire was, you find out it's not actually what you want. And a former version of you thought you wanted that thing because you got this idea from someone else that was the thing you wanted. That was pretty much my marriage. I'll give you that example. There's many other examples, but that was my marriage. I had bought into this idea that if I found a stable, decent guy to marry and have a family with, that this would bring me happiness, right? And it didn't. So now what? Right? Maybe you're at that place of recognizing, oh, I put all this effort into this thing in my life that I thought was gonna make me happy, and here I am sitting, and I can no longer deny the fact, I can no longer lie to myself that this thing that I thought was gonna make me happy is not making me happy, so now what? And the thing with the heart is that it really does ask a lot, especially in the beginning, when you're learning to come back in and listen to it. And when you are asking it what it wants you to sacrifice. And maybe for right now, in the beginning stages of this journey, the sacrifice is you're gonna have to sacrifice some time to be present with yourself. Make the choice to slow down. That's like rule number one for me with feminine energy anyway, across the board. Slow down. Get present with yourself. Remove distractions. Take time with yourself alone to listen to yourself. And maybe that's the first sacrifice, is having to change your lifestyle or your schedule or your commitments or how you're spending your time. Sacrifice something else and push it out for a moment so that you have more time to be in here. And maybe that's the first sacrifice your heart is asking of you, because your heart and your soul is much more subtle and quiet than your mind and your ego and by other voices outside of you. Those ones are really loud. And so the first challenge is to stop letting the loud ones be the ones that are actually getting in and remove them so that you can go into hear more. I love working with the physical body, and I've talked about this with the astrology video here and on my other channel. If you haven't, by the way, if you're not aware of my first YouTube channel, go ahead and check that out. There's a lot of like introductory information around feminine energy on that one. That's Inhale Love with Suze. Link will be in the description box below. Go check that out. Many videos on that channel. Now I forget my train of thought with that. This is what happens to me. I get so excited to bring these messages and then I just get lost. But anyway, what does my heart want? So then if you really want to put it into easy breezy human terms, we're just going to call it needs. When was the last time you actually started paying attention to your emotional needs? And you didn't let yourself be either the last person that you were emotionally taking care of, or you just, I don't have time for that. Maybe that's the belief you need to sacrifice. Sacrifice the belief or the thought or that's wrapped up in a fear, obviously, around I don't have enough time to listen to myself, or that's just inconvenient. Or maybe you're afraid to listen to what's happening in here because maybe you're afraid you're not going to be able to find your way out of that emotional mess that you're afraid you're going to encounter in there. Anxiety and depression are the two words coming to mind in this moment. If I really allow myself to start feeling my feelings, and if I really allow myself to sit and be still with myself, I am terrified of what potentially could come up, and I am doubting my own ability to handle that, or I don't know how to navigate that, or I'm afraid that that will completely drown me, and I don't want to go there, or I don't want to deal with that. I'm too afraid to deal with that. Is there any of that chatter happening? Maybe that's the stuff that needs to be sacrificed in service of your heart, of your authenticity, of your soul. I think that one's kind of a big one. In fact, I've heard people say things that clued me in to was their fear, was, I don't want to feel my feelings. I don't want to go into that emotional space because I'm afraid of depression. I've done that before and it only made me depressed, and I don't want to be depressed again. Okay, so maybe we need to develop some more skills of how to regulate, how to honor, and how to work through that. And that is what we will be covering on this channel. I'm really feeling the guidance to stop. But before I do want to pull from my Divine Feminine Oracle card deck. I have some new Oracle decks that I'm going to be purchasing soon in the upcoming weeks and using them on this channel. Ones that I didn't use ever on Inhale Love. This one I did use a few times over on Inhale Love with Suze on that channel. But I do want to bring this more predominantly over into the Goddesses of the Moon channel. I'm curious though, I would welcome your comments below of what bubbled up for you in that first little segment of what could potentially you be needing to sacrifice. I know what I was going to say. I distracted myself and now it's coming back. So we're going to go back for a minute. Putting it in human terms, that's where I was, and then I distracted myself. Putting it in human terms, it's your emotional needs, right? And that right there is a huge struggle for women as I'm working with them. Like, what do I, like my needs? Women get so disconnected from themselves that they don't even know what they need, or they think they know what they need, but they haven't actually dug deep enough to understand what's behind that thing that they think they need. There's something deeper that's behind it. And until you recognize the emotion or the energy behind the thing you think you need, you're never actually going to feel satisfied or fulfilled emotionally because it's an emotional thing. It's never the thing you first think it is. So it's not, for example, very simplistic, dumb example, but for example, maybe if you've been single for a long time and you're like, you know what, that person, like I just want to be in a relationship. I think I need a relationship. I want to be in a relationship. That's the thing that I'm thinking I'm needing. It's not actually that, right? Or I need more money. Okay, yeah, practically speaking, maybe you need more money, but that's not going to really truly satisfy you, or it's not really the need that your heart needs. Clearly, your heart doesn't need money. There's something deeper for your life as an emotional experience, as a spiritual experience. There's something else you actually need. And the irony is once you figure out the thread that connects the two, that's interesting because I just pulled this card and I just saw 1111. I pulled the rose thread card over on Inhale Love with Suze, my other channel. I just pulled that in a video I recorded before this one. There's a thread here. There is a thread being woven and I love it. It's like a thread between my two channels, a thread between the two messages, a thread between these two different elements of feminine energy I'm working with here. I love it. All right, let's see. What is the message from the Divine Feminine Oracle deck? We have two cards that came out. Queen Esther. Oh, I love the colors on this card. Queen Esther, the same kind of tones as like my orchids behind me. And then, I don't know if I'm going to correctly pronounce this, Mirabai. Passion, the red, but then outside it has like that deep purple again, kind of like my orchids. So these two, the colors actually of these work beautifully together. I love as well, before I even read the words, I love how both of them have like a halo. It's like we're really accentuating the crown chakra here. And then we have this like starburst or light on one of them. On her, it's coming from her heart space, and on her, it's around her in the halo. Like, see like a little starburst there and a little like light burst right here. What else am I seeing and picking up here? Of course, we have third eye as well with the jewel. These are beautiful. All right, I'm going to read Queen Esther first. The Morning Star. And again, I love that star. I have a big thing with stars too. North Star for me. My ego is in service of my soul. It's like this one, Soul Led, from Inhale Love with Suze. Soul Led. My ego is in service of my soul, and I trust my soul's divine timing. We're going to be getting into that, like the art of the wait. The art of the wait and trusting divine timing. That's a big challenge and requires massive intuitive strength and trust and patience. This one, the Saint of True Freedom. I love that because freedom is a word linked in with unconditional love, which is a huge theme of this channel, Goddesses of the Moon, unconditional love. Love is what sets me free. I'm married to my own soul. I love that. Again, in service to my soul. I am married to my own soul, and love is what sets me free. Exactly. See, I just said that. Unconditional love is freedom, setting someone else free. If you unconditionally love someone else, you are setting them free to live their life, to live their journey, to let them figure out their things for themselves and not swooping in and saving the day. But in so doing, if you're doing that, you're actually enabling them to stay dependent on you and stay at a lower level of their maturity, their journey, their growth. You're denying them access to their higher self, to their more mature self. If you're jumping in and saving the day, or you're telling someone what to do in their particular life situation. And so, I mean, I'm not saying, clearly don't misunderstand me. People love to misunderstand. I'm not saying you should never give advice to someone. That's not what I'm saying. But if you're always just jumping in and saving the day and telling what other people do and guiding them, and they're not figuring it out on their own, first of all, it's not going to land as deeply. When you figure something out yourself and you have had to work to get to that place of self-knowing and understanding and self-mastery, it means that much more, and it's that much more anchored and a part of you. It's much more integrated, and you're able to embody it much more powerfully and much more wholly because you have discovered it and found your own way there. Seeing a lot of number syncs. I just looked up and it was 1555. I'm not going to read from the book on these. I'm feeling like it's time to close this out. So I want to read these mantras again. My ego is in service of my soul. I trust my soul's divine timing. Love is what sets me free. I am married to my own soul. I love that. If you found value here, I would greatly appreciate it if you would subscribe. Let me know in the comments what really hit you and resonated with you in this message today. I'll be seeing you guys again soon. Have a beautiful day.